law of thermodynamics and its physical significance. First law of thermodynamics and its physical significance. Before going directly to this first law of thermodynamics, let us try to understand the background concept of first law of thermodynamics, like how we got this first law of thermodynamics. So, although the concept that heat and work are both forms of energy, it seems to be very obvious to us today, but it took a lot of time to establish this idea. At the end of 17th century, a scientist called Lavoisier, he proposed a theory according to that heat is a weightless fluid, and he called this weightless fluid as caloric. Using this concept of caloric, he explained a lot of phenomena like combustion. Fuels have stored caloric which is released in body. Later, a scientist called Rumford objected to this theory of caloric, stating that heat can also be produced continuously by friction. So where does all this caloric come from? To quantify this frictional effect of heating, Joule conducted an experiment. What he did, he took a mass m and he attached it to the end of a string, and the other end of the string is connected to a propeller immersed in some liquid. So the experimental setup which he took looks like this. So he took a structure like this. It is an insulating structure. He took some liquid. To measure the temperature of the liquid, he inserted a thermometer, and the propeller is inserted like this. So this is the propeller, and it is connected to a pulley like this. The string is connected to the mass. Now, as the mass falls through some height z, its potential energy is used to rotate the propeller. The rotation of the propeller frictionally heats the liquid that increases the temperature of this liquid. After quite a few number of descent, Joule measured the temperature rise, and he was able to deduce the mechanical equivalence of heat. Mechanical equivalence of heat. He also performed another experiment by sending current to some resistor R, and he found out the heat output H to be I square RT. From these experimental observations, he concluded that same amount of heat can be generated by employing same amount of energy independent of the method of delivery. From this, he concluded that heat is a form of energy. However, two scientists called Mayer and later Helmholtz elevated these experimental findings to a grand principle which is known as the first law of thermodynamics. According to the first law of thermodynamics is nothing but simply the principle of conservation of energy, and according to it, heat and work are both forms of energy. So, if we give some heat, this is delta Q, to a system, the heat is utilized in two ways. One part of it is used to do some work, another part of it is used to increase the internal energy. We are taking some example of this which will help us to understand the mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics. So mathematically we can write delta Q is equals to delta U plus delta W. So we are taking a gaseous system like this. So gas is filled in here and it is supported by some piston like this. So when you give heat, let's say delta Q, this will increase the internal energy of these gas molecules, and because of that, this piston will be raised high. Let's say the piston is raising to this position, and the internal energy of the system has increased like this. If we say that this elevation delta x, then we can find out the work done. Firstly, let us focus on this delta U. So initially, before giving the heat, the internal energy, let's say it was U1, and after giving the heat it becomes U2, then a change in internal energy will be delta U, U2 minus U1. And what about delta W? Work done is calculated by using this formula, force time displacement. Force is equals to pressure, and let's say A is the area of this piston, so pressure into area, force, and D, displacement, is this delta x. Now A times delta x is the infinitesimal volume the gas has increased. So P into delta V. So this is the amount of work you required to have this infinitesimal volume change delta V. So ultimately, if you keep delta U as delta U, you can write delta U plus P times delta V. So this is the mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics. Now what is the significance of this first law of thermodynamics? I have already mentioned heat is a form of energy. This is the first significance, that heat is a form of energy and energy is conserved in thermodynamic system. It also gives you a direct idea that if you want to get some work, we must supply some energy in some other form. So this is the physical significance of first law of thermodynamics. Now we can also discuss a little bit like what are the limitations of this first law of thermodynamics. So as you can see, it gives you an idea about the interconvertible of work and heat, but it does not tell you the limitation and constant or condition of this transformation, like how much energy will be converted into work or what will be the direction of this transformation. And that is why we require the second law of thermodynamics, which took into account these limitations, and it is given in the second law of thermodynamics. Hello guys, there is an announcement. So get your csir-net subscription today. You can activate the 7 days free trial, and the activation date has been increased by October 19. So what you can do, you can just simply scan this QR code, then you can register and choose csir-net as your exam goal. To activate the code, you can utilize our referral code, which is on the channel name Physics Hub, PHYSICXHUB, without any spacing. Then your plus subscription will be activated for 7 days. Remember one thing, that to get this you have to utilize a fresh new number which has not been used for taking an Academy Plus subscription or taking special classes as well. It should be a fresh new number, then only this thing will work, otherwise it will not work. So this was just an announcement. So I hope you find this announcement useful. Thank you. Unacademy is India's largest online teaching learning platform. You can prepare for various competitive exams like csir-net, GATE, JEST, IIT JAM, TFR. Especially if you are preparing for csir-net Physical Science, you can join me on Unacademy Plus. I cover all the 9 units of csir-net Physical Science syllabus. My approach is especially, I precisely give you the concept of the concerned topic. Then I discuss the relevant mathematical formula and do the analysis. Relevant problem based on the topic, including previous year questions, are discussed. Homework and assignments are also given. This is my profile, and if you want to join my Unacademy Plus courses, you can enroll for this course. And if you are new to this Unacademy platform, you can take an Unacademy Plus subscription using our referral code Physics Hub, and Unacademy will give you 10% off. So take the Unacademy Plus subscription today and put your feet one step ahead towards reaching your goal. Thank you.